like the Ethiopians quite a lot, but that seems like a bold claim.
Yeah, so there are a number of assumptions going on there. I mean, the first copies of the Bible that we have in terms of Old Testament, New Testament, the Old Testament is Hebrew, the New Testament is Greek, and we have Old Testament Hebrew copies like the Dead Sea Scrolls or the Greek translation of the Old Testament in the collection of the Septuagint, and then we have the Greek New Testament. So the Ethiopian Bible is written in a language called Ge'ez, and our oldest copy of that comes in the form of a collection of manuscripts called the Garima Gospels from potentially as early as the fourth century, but the extant manuscripts go anywhere between the fourth and the sixth centuries. But this is only the four Gospels. And they're very much a translation from the original Greek into the ancient Ethiopic language of Ge'ez. We, of course, have copies of each individual book of the Bible that exist in independent scrolls and books that predate these by centuries. So both, in the form of the Hebrew Old Testament and even the Greek translation of the Old Testament, and then the Greek New Testament. The earliest copy of a Genesis to Revelation Ethiopian Bible actually comes in the ballpark somewhere between the 14th and 16th centuries. So we're talking Middle
AD,
Ages. So
not
I
not
hear
not
this
BC.
online. No, no, I hear this online a lot. To be totally honest, don't know where it originated, but there's a picture of an old Ethiopian guy holding what looks like a very, very old manuscript, and then you always see the headlines of, first Bible ever discovered. We actually know the story of how the Ethiopian Bible kind of originated. There is a document that a number of documents actually that tell us that Syrian missionaries brought versions of the Greek translation of the Hebrew Old Testament and other Jewish literature, and the Greek New Testament down to Ethiopia into what was then called the Kingdom of Aksum, where it was translated into Ge'ez in and around the fourth century. So we have that cataloged and we can pinpoint where the Ethiopian Bible actually found its inception. And it is very much a translation from the Greek that preexisted it and did preexist it, arguably going back to the originals by the authors we see in our New Testament in the first century.
Yeah, this one was a bit of a head scratcher when I read it because of the fact that I'm certainly not a Bible scholar, but because the Ethiopian Bible is translated from the Septuagint, that means the Septuagint preexists the Ethiopian Bible.